10. We are but 10 days away. Say it with me. Our second specialty set story time booster. Yeah, I'm saying story time. Just going to stick to that gun. Story time boosters coming out 10 days, August 21st. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, if you were one of the individuals that purchased this a long time ago when it was $300-400, you're probably pretty happy. If you got a good source at your local card shop, you're probably really happy. If you play the TCG and you can get some early events, you can go get some of these cards a little bit sooner than normal, you're pretty lucky. If you're like the rest of us schmucks, you, me, and you had to go through GameStop to pre-order. I mean, look at, this is like a comedy. This is just ridiculous. This is two of them. But I had to purchase it from GameStop. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Anyways, those are expected August 21st. So if you're one of those schmucks, or maybe you missed the ball altogether. Maybe you're smart. You're going to join us on Whatnot Tuesdays at 9 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. $1 start these when we get them. Maybe you're that smart. I don't know. But maybe you say, Anthony, first off, you look really good looking in that AI shot. And I would say I don't think so, but I thought it was funny. Maybe you're like, I don't want to purchase these cards. I saw what happened to manga. So I'm just going to purchase the cards that I want. And that's the scenario I really want to focus on today. When should you be buying story booster singles? Now, a lot of you are single. That's not what I mean. It's all right. She'll text you back, I'm sure. But I'm talking about the individual cards themselves. And I'm going to give you some data-driven answers so that you feel more comfortable. This isn't some overweight guy on your TV, your phone, your computer screen just yelling at you and telling you to do stuff because he's funny and entertaining. A little good looking. This is actual data that says, hey, this is what typically happens. And this is how you should think about it moving forward. Now, I'm just going to compare this to Dual Evolutions. All right. I think Dual Evolutions is a pretty comparable set. I think it's got a lot of similarities in it. Not to get into the specifics, but Cross Force was kind of meh set with some exceptions, and it was released in a meh time frame, no one's fault, and still living in a meh world. So I don't think it's very comparable, but you will see a lot of this in Cross Force as well. So let's just dive in real quick. But first, guys, if you haven't liked, subscribed, if you haven't shared this in your Instagram story, your TikToks, your OnlyFans, your Feet Finders, whatever it is, share it. Let's get some more people in here. Let's grow this channel. We can get more ideas for content. We can create more quality sellers. We can create more quality buyers and help blow this TCG up. I'm sick and tired of watching all these Poke Bros. I want to see more Dragon Ball. I want to see more people like you. More people like me. That's our sponsor. That's the only word we have from our sponsor. Moving on. Also, we are looking for sponsors. $100,000 check will get you on this screen all day. So Storytime Booster, for those of you that don't know, the release date, August 21st. We're 10 days away. I did see some photos online circulating of what the booster box looks like. It's exactly like what you would think it would. $587. They're not getting sold out. They're not really going too crazy. So maybe this high price point of almost $600 is really turning off a lot. I mean, this is a lot to still be available. 6, 20, 10, 10, 4. Maybe when it's down and it's released, it's going to be a big thing. Well, Ram, you always tell us, don't buy the boxes. Again, I want to focus on singles. If we look at Dual Evolutions, I will call out, though. Look, there is a dip. I talked about this before in a couple other videos. The first 7 to 10 days after a release, we saw it with Cross Force, we saw it with Dual Evolutions, we saw it with Saiyan Pride, saw it with Sharon. First 7 to 10 days. That's probably going to be the cheapest point you can get. Cross Force is a little bit of the exception. It did continue to go down, but again, summer slump. But with a set like this, a specialty set, I don't think you're going to run into that. So first 7 to 10 days, if you want to buy the booster box, that's probably the best time to buy. Let there be a little bit of a dip. Now, moving on, because that's not what I'm talking about. Vegeta. We're going to start with Vegeta. I'm going to go through secret rares, super rares. What else did I have in here? Leaders, and super alt arts, part of the secret. All right. Vegeta STO1 alt art, not the best one in the world. You know, this one. Hey, it's me, Vegeta. What's up, guys? Right? This one. Now, when should you buy this card? Well, let's look at some data. And I'm going to use the only thing that's really comparable is the same rarity and the same alt art. So I went with Gogeta. Obviously, not an exact comparison, but it is still a secret rare. It is still a 1-star or alt art. We talked about that before. Alt arts are represented by the 1-star. Super alt stars are represented by 2 stars. Or street names, 1 stars and 2 stars. And if we look at this card and we look at the history upon release, now Dual Evolutions came out. I had a March 13th. Thank you, Internet. March 13th. So on that week of release, we're seeing comps 150 to as high as 220. And then we see a big dip. And it goes down to a dip until about June time. And then it kind of sits around a hundo. Now we see this listed for 145. If we look at the last sales, 115, 140, but $100, right? June it started to go up. But after release, look at this. Look at this dip. Pre. Released $100. 94.94. And we see here it starts to climb up and 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 climb up, right? Now, when you look at these sales, what does it tell you about the secret rares 1-stars? These are like, let's just call it the second top hits in terms of rarities that you can go to. So what does this tell you about this card? This should tell you that you really shouldn't be in too much of a rush to wait on this card. If my street date is 95, it's a popular card. It's a 1-star. This is a card that you probably want to roll some dice on and take a shot at purchasing it earlier rather than later. Now, we look at the dip for the boxes. We're almost waiting like a week and a half, maybe. But for some singles, for some rarities, we need to move a little sooner, or we need to wait a little bit longer. Now, in this scenario, 95, 95, 95, 90, 90, 90, 90, we were about 2 weeks in before we started to really pop up. So for a card that's a 1-star, I would say that for about $100 or less, this is a safe buy. Now, I obviously don't know what the first listings are going to be. Someone might be a schmuck like they were with the Cell alt art and say, hey, this card is going to be a $177 card. I remember seeing that. The one where Cell is got beefy trunks in the background. But this card, if on release date, it's $100 or less dollars, I think that's a really quick buy. This isn't one that you want to wait, because the longer you wait, the more it festers, the more popular it's going to be. Maybe people start jumping into it. I think if on release week or the week after, maybe into the 3rd week, if you can still find this for $100 or less, I think that's a safe buy. Buy it, you hold it. Don't be looking for a quick flip here. Just buy and hold it. Yeah, I know I make fun of this card, but it's still a Majin Vegeta secret rare alt art. Still pretty cool. 1-star. And you can see that comparative to at least a similar counterpart. That first few weeks, under 100, pretty good. But now, it's going to be tougher to find those. Right? So this is a card I would say look for it for $100. Not this one. Look for this for about $100 or less. And I think it's a safe buy as soon as you can. Let's move on to the super alt arts. The super alt arts, I absolutely hate pricing these out. You will not find me buying a lot of these ever. In collections, if they're part of it and it's got to close the deal, fine. But Vegito STO1 070 Super Alt Art, let me tell you right now, this is going to be a tough card to comp. Why? Because when you look at, and I'm just going to take a different from Dual Evolutions, a 2-star secret rare, 2 stars equal Super Alt Art. Yeah, lowest listed today is 3,000, only bangers. You had your money. And it's tough to comp these because not a lot of people will purchase them. But you see on release date, there was 1950. A lightly played one a week later. Lightly paid was $1,000 off. That's crazy. And then a near mint one was for $1,700. And then someone sold the BGS 9 for $2,000. So why this one's 3,000, I don't know. So for the higher you go up, the harder it is to comp. So I even have to go into Card Ladder to be able to really comp these things. In May, 1,600, but there's also another May one for 25, 23 in May, 1950 in April. These comps go everywhere. So if you want to know when's the best time to buy a 2-star, I'll tell you the only 2 scenarios that exist. I'm going to trade into this or I'm going to pool this. That is the only situation in which I am going to be getting this card. Trade into it or I pool it. If it's part of a collection, sure. But even then, I'm going to be super picky about those comps. It's really tough to get these because you will see if you go look at any other 2-star that is out there, there's not a lot of consistent comps out there. I mean, you got a guy selling a 9.5 in here. Let me see that. You got a guy selling a 9.5 in here. So 2 stars, let me tell you, you got to be very careful. Very careful. Don't get excited. Don't get too all amped up. And all of a sudden you're a minute man and she's asking you to leave. You understand what I'm saying? Relax. Take your breath. This is one that you can make a strategic financial decision about. All right? Try and rip it. Try and trade into it. Maybe if it's part of a large collection. Outside of that, this is going to be the toughest card you're ever going to find a comp. Ever. Telling you. Now let's get down back to reality a little bit. Vegeta's alt art, a leader alt art. 1 star. I put comparable to a Vegito. I said Vegito. To a Gogeta. The Gogeta alt art, if we take a look at its original release date, the 13th, this was a high value card. When it first came out, March. I really can't go that far back. You getting me? Well, at least we'll use this as an example. April, 120, 111, 115, 106, 100, 100, 100. Now we start seeing the 90s. We start to fight back up. And then we're starting to fight our way back down, back down, back down. Last sale, July 27th, 92. I can buy this card for $80. This is a good example of a card opposite of the 1-star secret rare, where the alt art for this, yeah, I could see it being a $50, $60, $75 card, sure. But if you jump too quickly into it, you might run into what you see here, where look, I have all these $100 sales, even higher, 160, May 30th. So 2 weeks after release, people were telling me this was a $160 to $170 card. What do you think? I don't think so. And if you were in a rush to get it, then yeah, I can see it. So a card like this in March, come August, we're talking about $90. I mean, man, that's a difference of quite a bit of money. $70, $80. So for an alt art leader card, if you were really interested in buying this Vegeta, if you can't pull it, I probably wouldn't spend more than about $80 or $90. I mean, the maximum. So you might have to wait because everyone gets hyped up on these cards. It stays strong for like a week or so and then it dips. Now you can try and catch that falling knife. That's cool. But eventually it's going to level out. Well, Ram, what if it never levels out? All right, well, give me an example of something that never leveled out. Even manga's level. So Story Booster, this alt art, I think you got to give this one 30 days, maybe even as much as 45 or 60 days before you can see a true value of this Vegeta. Because I think it's going to be a hyped up card for a little bit. Broly alt art, you're following the same suit, big guy. If we look at the Gohan, which, by the way, I love this Gohan. But if we're looking at the Gohan, I mean, this was a pretty high ticket item. Now, it's still a pretty high ticket item, right? So if we go back to our data, why is it only limited to May? 115, 120, 113. And this thing just spiked all the way up recently. Just a couple recent sales. Maybe people trying to manipulate. Maybe people really like this card. I don't really care. But this might be a card. This Broly might be a card where I will also wait 30, 60 plus days. If I can pull it, great. But do I need the alt art Broly so bad for my Broly deck? Besides, my Broly deck is Broly BR. So I'm not going to be using this. So this is a card I would absolutely say I need to give it maybe 60 days plus, kind of like that Vegeta, to really see where it levels out. I think a strong place for these to be, I mean, this Gohan, Beast Gohan, I think is very overpriced, me personally. I think, yeah, look at these last sales, 115. Before that, 180. I think that one's too high. I think this is a $130 card. What does this market say? Market price is 128. Yeah, I don't know about that. Do I see this Broly being a $200 card? Probably not. So if I want this Broly and I want to buy this single Broly, I'm going to wait a little bit. Again, trade it, buy it as part of a collection. But you got to be really careful with Story Booster. I think it's going to be hyped for a little bit. 2 weeks, maybe a week or so, until it starts coming back down to reality. Now, the super rares, alt art Prince Vegeta, or Prince of Destruction, excuse me. I compromise and I say, cool, they're like this. It's obviously a little bit different because this is a rainbow art bullshit that they're doing. If we look at the last, probably a little bit longer. I mean, look where it first released, you know, $200 card sale. That's crazy. Came back down to earth, probably a $60. What do you mean you're gathering data? You just had see this one wants to give it to me. Look, right out of the gate, not a very sought after card, but I tell you, I love it. And then for some reason, it just started to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb and climb and climb. And now you can't get this thing for 80 bucks. So a card like this, if you find this Prince of Destruction release date, again, probably not that first week, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 days in. If I see this card and I see it for 50 to 75 bucks, I think that's a good 50 to 70 bucks. 70, 75. 85 is a little bit better. I love this artwork. I think Dual Evolutions crushed it. Tiny bit over. I think 70, 75 bucks is where this card should be. If we look at the last sales, they were still keeping us high. The summer slump, right? Is that what everyone was telling me? But this card, personally, I'd be waiting a little bit. If it started up really high, if this started at $100, $150, $200, I'd wait. I'd wait until I see this thing get closer to 75, maybe 80, 85. It's a specialty set, so I can make an argument to spend a little bit more. If we look at the Broly, you're interested in the Broly, well, then I'm going to just compromise that and say that this is a secret rare, I'm sorry, super rare alt art. And this one had a little bit of a roller coaster too. I feel like there was like a $200 sale at this one point. I remember seeing that one day. Let me see if it'll pull it up. It was crazy high, I thought. Maybe very early on. Is that what we said? Yeah. Oh, God. $180 when it came out. Is this $180? No. It's dropped about $100. $100. So if you can find this card, same thing as the other one, 50 to 75, maybe 80, 85 bucks, I think it's a good buy. So this whole thing's to tell you there's no blanket answer when it comes to the singles. Because if we're talking about 2 stars, where's my 2 stars? We're talking about 2 stars. That's the toughest thing to comp, man. I mean, you can go 6 months and only have maybe 3, 4, 5 sales. And that might not even be enough to make a good decision. But then you got cards like a leader like this. Leaders in general, I think Dual Evolutions had great leaders, but in general, they're not that high value. I can see this one being a very popular card. So if this one comes out of the gate and it seems a little bit weaker, it's, $50 card or so, man, I might swoop that sucker up. Even at 80 bucks, I really might consider it. I think this is between a $50 to $75 card. So if this card comes out really strong, if any of the cards come out really strong and you're like, well, Crossforce wasn't like that, and Dual Evolutions wasn't like that. Trust me, guys, these are cardboard pictures with art. There's not something that you need. So if you're like, well, I'm worried, I got the FOMO RAM, I feel like if I miss that opportunity, I'm going to miss this whole shebang. And that's not necessarily true. You have an opportunity to be able to go back and say, what happened in the past? I can at least say in the past, when boxes came out, I can see between Crossforce and Dual Evolutions, Rivals Clash, Wish for Shenron, Saiyan's Pride, that after about 7 to 14 days, I think this one will be a little bit tighter, maybe 5 to 12 days. There's a little bit of a dip before it goes back up again. That's the time to buy a booster box. But when it comes to singles, you really got to go in there. And listen, maybe you don't like the comparison that I use of the card. Maybe you're like, well, I don't think that's more of like a Gogeta. Why didn't you use this card? Why did you do exactly what I'm doing and go look for yourself? Make that determination, right? There's no cards in here that I'm like, I need it. I don't get it. I need it. I'm gonna miss my opportunity. I'll never see it. I will see all of these cards. For the next 6 months, I know all I'm going to be buying from collections is Story Booster. I know that. It's going to come down to me. I have no fear that I'm going to miss anything in here. But if you need to buy singles and you're really looking, this is a great little exercise that you can do. Find something from a couple of recent sets, throw up some Crossforce, throw up some Saiyan's Pride, whatever it is, compare them and look at how that market acted for that card. Maybe it's not the same character. Definitely try and keep it the same rarity if it's an alt-art, a 2-star, whatever. But you need to jump in there and take a look. And I will more so warn you, 2 stars, you don't need it that bad. It's going to be a tough one, man. I'll tell you, for me to buy one, it's going to be tough. But some of these cards, you can see them take a big rise, big dip, and level out. Do you want to buy in the dip because you're afraid it's going to go back up? Do you want to, when it levels out, and purchase? That's up to you. But look at these. General rule of thumb that I like to give is within the first 15 to 30 days of any set for singles, I generally do not buy. There's definitely exceptions to that rule. But generally speaking, broadly, 15 to 30 days after a release comes out, I do not purchase anything, but I do watch. And that's how I came across. I'll show you the exact card too. I remember seeing this card. Where are you, my friend? This was listed for $100. There it is. This was listed for $170. The fuck do you mean? A rare altar was listed for $170. Did I say it sold for that? No, I didn't. But that's why you got to be really mindful. When this was listed for like the first week, it was like $170. Imagine you wanted to pull the trigger on this card. For this guy, I sell this for 30 bucks on Whatnot all day. So when the 10 days that are coming up here, Go through here, look at the singles that you want. If you missed out the early birds, you missed out the GameStop, you don't want to pay scalper prices, you've already come to the conclusion, I'm going to buy just singles. Find the cards you want. They're all listed in there. Figure out which ones you want to utilize for your collections, for your PCs, for your decks. Bookmark them and watch them. And I'm telling you, you'll see some crazy prices originally listed there. This card was 100 and something. Crazy, dude. Crazy. So watch them. And when you think it's below and you're like, well, I saw all these other cards in the same rarity, approximately the same card, and they floored around this whatever dollar mark, that's when you pull the trigger. Or you wait it until after the holidays and people have cooled off a little bit. Maybe now they're thinking about, what is STO2, February, March timeframe? And now they're thinking about the next one. Maybe they're not so much focused on this one, and that's your time to strike. Either way, make some data-driven decisions, chat. If you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me, Anthony, I think you're a retard. What are you talking about? Some cards I'm buying early, some cards I'm buying late. I'll buy whatever the fuck I want. Okay, cool. Ram, I can't believe you did this. This is amazing. I love you. Thank you so much. Great. If you haven't, like, subscribe, share this. There are more Dragon Ball people out there that don't have this information, that don't think this way, that don't even realize that this stuff's around, that they can do. Share this. Set them up for success is what I like to say. Chat, until tomorrow, 3 p.m. We'll see you. We're dropping videos every day. You better be there.